From why unconscious people seem heavier to what would happen if we never slept again. My name is Darling, and I'm here to answer everyone's burning questions about life.
Hello there, I'm Danger Dolan, and I'm here to blow your minds with truth. But first, I wouldn't mind a back massage. I'm a little itchy.
What happened to you?
They're old scratch marks from Paprika, the feline raccoon thing that used to be at Planet Dolan. As you can tell, she was sharp. I wonder what happened to her.
Who even cares about that trash cat?
Whoa! It sounds like you know her pretty well.
Yeah, we met. She's old news, though. Now, come on, hit me up with some questions.
Okay then. Why do public buses have no seatbelts?
When a bus gets into a crash or collision, it's usually with a much smaller car. That crash isn't going to transfer much inertia to the bus. If anything, it will just cause it to jolt a bit. A bus will always be the victor in a collision. By the same token, buses don't generally go very fast. Half the passengers are usually standing, and if an evacuation is needed, such as with a fire, it's much faster if the other half don't need to unbuckle to get out of their seats.
Yeah, nah. Statistically speaking, seatbelts end more lives than they save.
What?
Everyone knows there is a 2% chance that if you get twisted up in the seatbelt enough, it will cut off all your blood flow, you'll burst and die. Or you'll fiddle around trying to clip the belt into the buckle only for your hand to get lost and you get sucked down into the seat and die.
That has nothing to do with the seatbelt. That's just the harmless swamp creature that lives under your seat. Don't bother it, and it won't bother you.
So it is real. What is a strawman argument?
This is when you hear someone give an argument, then in rebuttal, you misrepresent what they said to make it easier to win the argument. You'll most likely hear this when you give a really compelling argument, but they come back with, "So what you're saying is," and argue against something unrelated to what you said. Think of it like the opposing side turns to a scarecrow mid-argument and argues with that instead, leaving you confused as they believe they've won the argument against a scarecrow that can't even fight back.
So what you're saying is you can't trust scarecrows? That they abduct people, including everyone from Planet Dolan?
That isn't even close to what I said.
Well, then how do you explain where everyone went? Where did Paprika go?
Listen, Buster, it doesn't matter where she went. She's out, and I'm in. You got that?
Where did the straw man take her?
You know what? I need to relax.
Why is rocking in a chair or swinging in a hammock so soothing?
One theory is that our minds and bodies still remember the calming reflex of this rocking from our time in the womb, or our time as children being rocked back and forth by our parents. As we grow older, we lose this reflex, but our brains still release the feel-good chemicals as we rock or swing. Alternatively, some believe it's because the body produces oxytocin in the lower spine. So rocking releases this hormone, which makes us feel happy and comfortable. Possibly, it's a mix of all of these that offers such a soothing effect.
Actually, it reminds us of our days growing inside the banana plantations of Brazil. There was nothing more calming than growing inside the folds of a banana peel, the gentle rocking of the harvest truck taking us to market. And the moment a customer peels open our banana skin, giving birth to us right there at the low price of 20 cents?
I think my experience on the hammock is vastly different to yours.
Let me guess, you were part of the Colombian plantations. That explains everything.
How I was created is none of your business.
Created?
Born. I meant born. Don't give me any of your sass, banana boy.
That is offensive. I am a banana man now. What do militaries do when there is no war?
Only around 10 to 20% of military personnel are combat units. In peacetime, they mostly just prepare, train, deploy, clean, and study for certifications. The rest have constant jobs like maintenance to ensure aircraft and ships are functioning. Logistics will handle gear, equipment, and food for anyone deployed. Intel will always keep an ear open no matter whether it's peace or war. There's always jobs regardless, such as humanitarian aid or patrols on the ocean. But the most important part is training. They're trained for every possible contingency and scenario, so that when one of them actually happens, there's no time wasted.
Lack of wartime means lots of downtime, significant number of troops you'll find online, starting anonymous flame wars on platforms like Twitter, Reddit, and yes, even YouTube. Remember how everyone convinced you that one Final Fantasy game was overrated? Bored soldiers. You think some Star Wars movies were terrible? Combat troops don't. They're keyboard warriors. These men will argue the opposite, grasping at straws. You could say
No, don't.
that you're arguing with strawmen.
One of these days, you're going to get hit in the face with one of your bananas, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Bringing my family into this? Huh, that's low. Why do unconscious people seem heavier than when they're conscious?
It's all about the distribution of weight. The more wobbly or uncoordinated something is, the harder it becomes to lift and move. If someone is unconscious, they become limp, which means their arms, legs, and head will flop in random directions, making it significantly more difficult to lift them. But if they're awake, they will likely help shift their weight to make things easier. It's no different than how it's easier to lift gym weights than it would be to lift a bag of comparable weight that's filled with potatoes.
If people are asleep and weigh as much as a bear, they're not unconscious, they're hibernating. Look at this. The big giveaway here is the giant gut filled with months of food to slowly digest during this hibernation.
Hey!
Careful though, there's a reason people say you should never wake a hibernating bear, and people are no different. Anyway, there's only one solution to this. What if you just never slept again?
Despite the case of one man who never needed to sleep, for most people, you would suffer a steadily increasing series of health concerns that will worsen the longer you go without sleep. At the first 24 hours, you'll have increased risk of heart attack and stroke. Your blood pressure and stress hormones will increase. Your brain cell usage and coordination will dampen and diminish. After a couple of days, your mood will get very irritable. You'll fail to make long-term memories, and you'll most likely microsleep. If you somehow make it to 3 days, you'll hallucinate, lose short-term memory, and from there, you'll suffer paranoia. You won't be able to concentrate, and your risk of death will spike with each hour that passes. To sum it up, you would not survive as the weeks and months roll by.
I find you can stock up on sleep like it's a resource. If I sleep for several weeks straight, I can stay awake for months on end.
If that actually happened, you would be dead.
It's easy, yes. I lose all my memory, most of my motor skills, but there are no other side effects. Sure, I also lost all my hair. My skin turned porcelain white, my height shrunk by 2 feet, and I was technically diagnosed clinically deranged, but...
Yes?
Huh. Did I lose all my nails again? Huh. Was I really born as a banana? Oh well, why isn't the tallest building record constantly broken?
This is because there's little point in designing buildings that are taller than what is currently out there. In fact, it becomes more expensive the higher you go, likely in the billions of dollars, whereas you can easily take that extra height and just design another building on a larger plot of land. It's difficult to design buildings to be that tall without pouring a ton of money into the construction, and no way to recoup the cost. So we tend not to bother.
You ever played Jenga? That's what it's like making a tall building. Each room causes more gaps in the foundation until eventually you reach a certain height and the whole thing crumbles. Super glue can only take you so far.
It's over, Mr. D. I have the highest ground.
You underestimate the truth. Ugh. You're just like Paprika. She was always obsessed with climbing trees for a height advantage. Oh, hey, what's that? Oh, did she drop something?
Warned ya.
She did. Damn,